With his speech, Step Up and Step Out, our test speaker, Florian Bays.
March 19th, 2013. I remember the day very well. I remember leaving work to get the bus to Cheltenham. It was a very nice day in what was soon about to be spring. March 19, 2013 is a day I attended my very first Toastmaster meeting as a guest in this very room above the Xmas Arms pub nearly 7 years ago now. Little did I know back then where this journey would take me. I was like, I'll join for a couple of months, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be moving around for work quite soon, but I nevertheless handed £60 to this gentleman here, John Evans, and it was like, pleasure to do business with you, he told me back then. I didn't know what this journey would lead to. I didn't know what I would learn, the people I'd meet along the way, and I most certainly did not know that I would come back to this place 7 years hence as district director, looking after all 182 Toastmaster Club in London, Southern England and Southern Wales. The tone was set right, I think, that day, and I remember the very first person I met as I crossed this door. It was John's wife, Maria Evans. She had a beaming smile on her face and welcomed me into the meeting. And this really set the tone for what was about to come in my Toastmaster journey. That by stepping up into Toastmaster, by stepping up into this room, I would be stepping out of my comfort zone and meeting up new people. And this feeling of community has been with me throughout. And it's quite amazing that wherever you go into Toastmaster, no matter where in the UK or even where in the world, you find exactly the same thing. Nice and friendly people that welcome each other with a beaming smile. I saw it with my own eyes 2 weeks ago above a place in Warsaw where I didn't speak the language. I was told the meeting would be in Polish and that one of the speakers would be speaking Russian as well. I do speak some Russian, but not fluently at all. And this thing also led to a number of people that supported me along the way, mentors as we call them in Toastmasters. My very first mentor was a gentleman called Edward Till in London Olympian. And Edward Till gave me some good advice very early on, in a very direct manner. You've got a slight challenge with your accent, we're gonna have to work on that. And over the past few years, I think I've been trying to work on this to the extent that whenever I go abroad now in Toastmasters event in Europe, people think I'm a Brit. Which is kind of the case, but not really the case at the same time. I also remember another one of my mentors, a gentleman called George Kiesa that I met in London. And that gentleman saw something in me when I did my very first test speech 6 years ago in London Corinthian. And he decided to mentor me and he nudged me and he said, I want you to launch a club next to Victoria Station. He didn't say it in that way, but pretty much in that way over a lunch that he paid. And inviting me for lunch is always a good way to get me something to do things. So take note if you want me to do those things for you. And I also remember the many conversations I've had in the past 3 years with Lark Doley, our immediate past international president, that in the moment of madness, I approached in Vancouver in my first international convention and said, would you please like to become my mentor? I'll mentor you as long as you mentor me too, she said. But many of these mentoring relationships have become a lot more than that. They become real, true friendships as well. And there are a couple of people that stands in my mind there. One of them is a gentleman I would like to call my brothers-in-arms in some respect. Mr. Arno Sartre, our District Home Quality Director. I'll never forget these few days we spent together in Kuala Lumpur and the challenge at the airport. You gonna try it? Maybe. Are you gonna try it yourself? Maybe. Are you gonna try it? It was about trying out the durian fruit, which is a fruit that is native to Southeast Asia, smells and tastes like fecal matter. I nevertheless did it. It tasted absolutely foul, but fear not, he had a good plan. We're going to go to the lounge, we've got 5 hours to kill before the flight, and there will be alcohol despite the fact that it's a Muslim country. I think he had a little bit more to drink than I do. He went straight to the bar. I didn't. I stayed on soft drinks. But as he said before we go to the flight, there's a lot of debris there. We clearly have been consumed quite a bit. Another friend that stand out recently is somebody I'm mentoring from another district in Poland, Paulina. She tried to kill me 2 weeks ago when we were driving from Warsaw to Białystok in eastern Poland. And she was driving at 160 kilometers an hour on the motorway. It's completely safe. I said, I am in charge, I do this all the time. Really, you play with lorries and such all the time. But I survived to tell the tale. And that warm welcome I had, this just being shown around, even acting as a translator when time comes, is just one of the many elements that a Toastmaster can give you. One of the many facets of Toastmasters as a community. But the real thrills I've had of Toastmasters is whenever I have truly stepped up into something and which led me to step out of my comfort zone. Launching that club in central London, London Victorians. Some people saw that fail at the time. I was a little bit mad. I mean, my job situation was a bit uncertain, but I was naive and I'm like, this is central London. Thousands of people walk past the station every day. We will get members in no time. It took us about 6 months, so clearly my predictions were slightly optimistic. But this experience taught me quite a few things. It taught me the importance of building a strong team. It taught me the importance of always coming up with a strong vision in leadership. And last but not least, the importance of attention to detail. That the smallest thing can sometimes make the biggest difference to make a club just like this one really, really successful. I didn't know when I stepped through that door 7 years ago that I would end up district director. But the things I've learned along the way, the people I've met, the friendships I've forged and the experiences I've had, be it in Vancouver, Kuala Lumpur, Moscow or Białystok more recently, I've made my Toastmaster journey a whirlwind that seems quite hard to believe at times. And my message to all of you is, why don't you do the same? You've already stepped through that door. Why don't you step up and do something you didn't thought you would? Maybe stepping up into the leadership of this club. Maybe stepping up into completing your first level on pathways. The worst that can happen is that you will step out of your comfort zone and have amazing experiences along the way. Step up and step out. That's the